Hey folks, it's Tom, your Frugal Prepper. I'm kind of losing my voice. Finally over that cold, but I coughed so much that I got my voice all messed up. But the darn Pontiac just won't start at all now. I don't know. I'm looking at it and I think something might be missing, but I'm not quite sure. Then we'll go take a look. Yeah, I think maybe there used to be something else in here. So, yeah, I went ahead and got the motor pulled out today. I just buckled down and got it done. Even though I sound like crap, I'm actually feeling a lot better. I've just kind of been sick the last 2 weeks. But I got the Harbor Freight crane there with my $99 coupon. That worked great. And the engine's over here on my $40 engine stand. And had a little oil spill. I kind of was trying to get this hole lined up to put the pen in back here, and I kind of tipped it on its side, and I hadn't drained the oil yet. I threw some oil dry down. So I'm going to go ahead and start getting this torn down. As far as pulling this motor, it's not real hard. I've done much worse. I just, I'm not gonna. I didn't want to cover the. I'm not going to cover the removal and the installation of the motor step by step. But I do want. I will cover. As I get it torn down, the machine shop work and getting it built back up. And but I just went to the Chilton's online manual and followed it step by step and did what it told me to do, and I pulled it out of there. It wasn't a big deal. I started on it just a little bit last night, finished it up today, and I think I started this morning around 10, well actually probably more like 11, and I had it out at 4. So not a real hard thing. So what I'll do is I'll get the head torn off of this and the timing chain and everything. We'll get this torn down to a bare block now. And then we'll send the block and the crank out to the machine shop. And then I'll send the head out when I get the block and crank back. So I can get the block and crank done, paid for, order my parts. And then I'll send the head out so that it comes back and I can pay for it just on a separate payday. It's just, money is all it is. I want to make sure that I got the money to pay the machine shop when they're done with it. I don't want to have it sitting there and have them waiting on their money. So, sweet. We'll see. I can go up to 40 over on the pistons on this, and I can get the bearings up to 30 over. So as long as they can machine it within those tolerances, that'll be fine. If they can get the cylinders true without taking more off, that it's within clearance to use the stock pistons, that'd be awesome. If not, I'll order a set of pistons for it. So yeah, just go ahead and I'll tear the timing chain and cover off, get the cam towers off, get the head off, and just get it all torn down to a bare block now. It comes out the top. I just went ahead and used the strap to tie the hood back so the hood prop was out of my way. Right there. And, you got to take the exhaust manifold off. You got to take the AC compressor out. There's a few bolts over there that hold the transmission to the motor. Take out all your bell housing bolts. You got to take out this one transmission mount to get one of the bell housing bolts. Unplug all your wiring. I just took my fuel injector rail off as one piece and bungee strapped it over there with the injector still on it. Power steering pump set off to the side. And you take off the harmonic balancer and pull it and pry on it with the pry bar until the dowel pins come loose and it pops up out of there. So I just went ahead, instead of messing with the hoses, I left the heater hoses and stuff on the engine and just took them loose from the heater core. The book says to take them all loose from the engine and stuff. It was easier just to take them loose from the heater core. I do have another motor mount for this one right back here that I've been wanting to put in. This will be the perfect time to go ahead and replace that. And I've got the front one up here too. I'll replace that. I replaced this one on the side of the transmission a while ago. So they're not completely bad yet, but they're got some splits in them, so I'll get that done. And it'll be a good time. I've got my catalytic converter. This converter's bad. So while I got it apart, I've got it up here in this big box. I'll go ahead and get it up in the air here at some point and cut the 3 bolts on the flange in the back off. And it looks like there's still enough meat that I can bolt this one up. It's an entire piece. Comes with the down pipe and the mid pipe. So that's I think I got that on eBay. You can see kind of a little bit of it up there. I got that on eBay pretty cheap. So, all right. So, engine. So there are a lot of people that probably think I'm crazy for taking a 1999 Grand Am, pulling out a 4-cylinder motor, and rebuilding it, paying for machine work, getting parts, putting it back together, and there's an equal number of people that seem to think I'm crazy for using Chinese parts. I'll tell you, I've seen these Chinese parts go in other motors. I've used the gasket sets a lot in parts, camshafts and stuff. Cheap Chinese eBay parts. I like a place called Car Parts Whiz. I've had 0 problems with their parts. They fit. When I have a question on what gasket or part I need, they get my VIN number, look it up. I always get the right part. The truth is a lot of this other crap that you go and buy that's name brand is probably made in China these days. You know, probably the GM parts are made in China these days, or Mexico. So I don't have a problem using the Chinese parts because it makes it a whole lot cheaper. It's going to be a fourth to half of the cost for the parts to buy Chinese bearings and pistons as opposed to buying like sealed power bearings and pistons. It's going to be kind of a budget rebuild. Like, I'm not going to do an oil pump because the oil pressure was fine, unless I get it apart and see that it's about to go. So I'm going to send it down and have them turn the crankshaft however much they need to make it true, up to 30 thousandths. I can go up to 30 thousandths on it. That's the biggest bearings I can get. I can go up to 40 thousandths over on the pistons. So, you know, whatever they have to turn it to, that's what we'll turn it to, and that's what I'll order the parts for. And then I'm going to know that I got a motor that's machined, put back together. It's got fresh bearings, fresh pistons, fresh rings. I'm going to have the head gone through, and if it needs anything, let them do it and replace it. So I know that the head's good to go. I know that it's true, you know, and I'm going to bolt it back together, and I'm going to use the cheap Chinese parts. So, you know, I'll keep a running total, but I might have upwards of $1,000 in this by the time I take into account that I have to buy an engine stand, the crane, and which those are tools. I'll use them again. But, you know, I'm going to have, you know, 340 or so in parts, and then I'm going to have the machine shop charges. So, but at the end of the day, I have a motor that I know is good, that I can put back in that car, that's paid for, that I'm going to keep, and that I'm going to drive for a long time. The only thing that would make the real risk in this would be that I put all this work and money into it, and I get in an accident. And the insurance company, if it's not my fault, would, you know, the other person's insurance might give me $1,000 for an old car. So, you know, it wouldn't necessarily be a great deal then, but I haven't had an accident since I was like 19, and I'm 43 now. So it can always happen, but I'm not going to let that talk me into being like, oh, I just need to go get a new car payment, right? Because at the end of the day, $1,000, that's like 2 car payments for a lot of people. And I'll have this car back up and running good for $1,000. I already did all the suspension and stuff under it a while back, so you know it's good to go. So that's my thought. And this will hopefully help someone else learn how they can maybe do a budget rebuild on their motor. A junkyard motor is not a bad option, but when you get into cars that are this old, you get cars that are in the junkyard for a reason other than they were wrecked most of the time. And you get cars that, you know, people owned and they bought them because they were really cheap and they didn't do oil changes on them, they didn't take care of them, and you're usually getting a motor that's about to blow up anyway. You know, I went through that with my Buick. I put junkyard engines in it, one after another. And on the fourth engine, I just finally said, screw it. You know, send it to the junkyard. You don't get those nice low mileage engines in a 99 out of a junkyard from a car that's been wrecked. You just don't. So rather than gambling on a junkyard motor and doing all this work to pull the engine out and put it back in, I'm just going to do the machine work and rebuild it, and I know I've got a good solid engine. I haven't had any transmission problems, but you know, a transmission's not that hard to change on this car if I need to do it, you know, swap a transmission. So that's where I'm at with the project. Hopefully I'll get my voice back here soon so I won't annoy you so much with the sound of my voice. And we'll start tearing this thing down, and I'll just kind of go through what I'm doing in the build up, and hopefully this will help some people that maybe just, you know, want to do this to one of their cars. They don't want to build a race car, they just want to get their daily driver back up and going again. Talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your frugal prepper.